In this comparative study, I will explore the similarities and differences of the themes of escapism and rebellion between two comedy films, the 1952 film Roman Holiday, directed by William Wyler, and the 1986 film Ferris Bueller's Day Off, directed by John Hughes. The similarities and differences can be found in the socioeconomic, geographical, and institutional cultural contexts of these films. Both films are not the usual definition of escapism in film, as the films are providing the feeling of escapism more for the character than for the viewer. This kind of escapism is more in the sense of the giddy excitement one feels when a plan falls into place or when one has a prolonged daydream. Although both of these films are comedies, how they are told is immensely different. Roman Holiday is told in a narrative structure. This allows the viewer to see the public mask the princess wears slowly slip away to reveal a young girl who wants to indulge in normal activities. In Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Ferris is the narrator of the film and talks directly to the audience throughout. This allows the viewer to feel closer to the group, almost as if they are in on the secret and traveling with them. The characters in both Roman Holiday and Ferris Bueller's Day Off want to divert from their normal socio-economic roles. Princess Anne wants to explore a day in the life of a lower middle-class individual, as Anne starts by walking the streets of the market and getting her hair cut. Ferris tries to emulate the day in the upper class, as Ferris begins his day acquiring Cameron's dad's Ferrari and swindles his way into a very fancy French restaurant. In both films, their moment of rebellion are foreshadowed towards the beginning. While Princess Anne is becoming unhappy with her current surroundings, she looks out the window longingly at a dance. Later, she is smuggled out of the palace in a truck. She looks out the back and sees things to do in Rome that she later takes part in, such as riding a Vespa. In Ferris Bueller's Day Off, when he is getting ready in the morning, he sings Dankeschön by Wayne Newton, which he later lip-syncs to in a parade.
Central Park in fall, how you tore your dress, what a mess, I confess.
This shows both characters have already tried to mentally escape their unwanted present and know what they would rather be doing. However, in contrast with each other, Anne chooses to do things she sees as they are the only aspects of the lower class world she has been exposed to, while Ferris has obviously planned out or daydreamed his journey for a while.
You knew what you were doing when you woke up this morning, didn't you?
In both films, the filmmakers used the cities as characters. Roman Holiday was filmed in Rome. Ferris Bueller's Day Off was filmed in Chicago. The locations helped create iconic scenes that furthered characterization. In Roman Holiday, the characters travel all over Rome, seeing its destinations such as the Spanish Steps, the Tiber River, and the Trevi Fountain. Audrey Hepburn's character, Princess Anne, is taken to the Mouth of Truth, the carved stone face which supposedly bites the hands off of liars. Princess Anne hesitates and cannot bring herself to put her hand in because she is lying about who she is and she is afraid of being caught. In Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the characters see all the sights of Chicago on their day off, such as the Willis Tower, Wrigley Field, and the Art Institute of Chicago. In Chicago, on Dearborn Street, there is an annual German-American parade. In this scene, Ferris jumps on a parade float and starts to lip-sync. This shows his audacious character, as he has no fear if he is seen and just does what he wants for the day. Both characters are running away from the institutions in which they are normally trapped. Antagonists create comical situations for the protagonists in order to keep their cover and continue on their journey. In Roman Holiday, the palace and its servants are Anne's antagonists along with the police who are actively looking for her throughout the film. This creates several comical situations. For example, one night at a riverside party, the police find Anne and try to take her. A huge fight breaks out and Anne starts to defend herself. In Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the main antagonist is his principal, Mr. Rooney. But Ferris is also faced with trying to hide from his parents. For example, the three main characters run into Ferris's dad 2 separate times in the city, and both times have to come up with a clever way to avoid him. However, in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the protagonist's attempt to try to run away from the institutions does not only create funny situations for the protagonists, but also creates comedy for the antagonists. On several occasions, Mr. Rooney is actively trying to catch Ferris in his lie. This involves him shirking his duties as a principal, falsely accusing people, and breaking into Ferris's house. In both films, there are 3 main characters involved in the fun of the day off. In Roman Holiday, Joe and Irving work together and seem to have known each other for some time. Joe and Anne meet towards the beginning of the movie, and Irving is introduced to her later by Joe. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, they are all friends, but Cameron and Ferris have known each other for a long time. In both films, 2 main characters seem to overshadow the third, as they have more distinct personality. In Roman Holiday, Princess Anne and Joe Bradley are building towards a relationship for the majority of the film. The third character, Irving, is Joe's friend and comes in and out of the plot, mostly being used to document the journey. Contrasting from Roman Holiday, the love interest is the third character that is overshadowed in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Sloane, Ferris's girlfriend, appears indifferent and willing to follow Ferris and Cameron. Her personality may be hard to detect among Ferris's ego and Cameron's internal struggle, but she tends to be calm, trusting, and kind, but also concerned about her friends. These group dynamics create funny situations, as Joe and Irving are conspiring to write a story on Princess Anne, and Joe must prevent Irving from giving it away.
What do you do?
I'm in the same racket as Joe. Only I'm a I'm awfully sorry, Irving. Oh, what are you...
When Joe realizes his feelings for Anne and scraps the story, he must prevent Irving from telling his boss.
Man, wait till you see these.
Irving.
Hi, Mr. Oh, you got here at the right minute. Where are you going to look? What's the idea?
You mean charging in here and spilling things all over my place?
In Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Sloane must be smuggled out of the school.
Oh, Sloane, dear. Hurry along now.
Also, she has not been friends with Ferris for as long as Cameron, so she is used as a disguise to prevent Cameron and Ferris from getting caught. The sound in both films help convey the characters' emotions. In the scene where Anne says goodbye to Joe, a radio news announcement is playing in the background. This shows Anne's internal struggle of whether or not she should follow her heart and stay with Joe, or appeal to her sense of duty and return to her institutional life of responsibility.
Quite a day.
A wonderful day.
This is the American Hour from Rome, broadcasting a special news bulletin in English and Italian. Tonight, there is no further word from the bedside of Princess Anne in Rome, where she was taken ill yesterday on the last leg of her European goodwill tour. This has given rise to rumors that her condition may be serious, which is causing alarm and anxiety among the people in her country. La Principessa Anna.
In the museum scene of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, an instrumental version of the Smiths' Please, Please, Please Let Me Get What I Want is playing. This song serves as an anthem for Ferris and Cameron, as they just want to have one day where they can have everything. Especially for Cameron during this scene, he stares ever more intently into the pointillist canvas, the camera zooming in while the painting image of the child becomes less and less distinct, finally dissolving into splotches of color that don't look like anything at all. It's hard to imagine a better song to serve as a soundtrack for Cameron as he realizes that the harder he looks at his own life, the less it seems to mean.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Rome. By all means, Rome. I will cherish my visit here in memory as long as I live.
At the end of both films, nothing is really resolved. Each group has to go back to their daily lives, and their future is uncertain. However, the memory of this one day will keep them going through their lives even when they are struggling to deal with their reality.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.